Today we're in a beautiful workshop in Sparrabosch with Cumberland, and she does silk painting. Is that the correct term?
Yes, it is.
So tell us first of all a little bit about silk painting. What is the difference between that and silk screening, for instance?
Silk painting, you are actually working on a canvas of silk material, and you are creating the design on that and using the special paints, painting on that, just as an oil painter would prepare a canvas or a watercolorist would get his special watercolor paper.
And the silk, is there any specific type
yes,
of silk
you want silk which has not been treated in any way. And if unfortunately you do find that there's some sort of a substance on it, then it has to be washed and dried and hope that that will come out. Okay. But what you do is you cut the silk to whatever size you think you're going to make your picture, and you have special pins, and you will actually put it on the frame, starting on all the four corners, and then you will find that you actually stretch it going down and this way. And silk is amazingly strong. It's amazingly resilient, and you can pull and pull and pull
until it's as taut
as taut, yes, so that you can bounce coins or anything else off of it. And the tighter you can get it, the nicer your picture will be, because then you'll have no crease lines or any paint catching anywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let me just ask you, before you show us any more about, or demonstrate any more, where did this all begin for you?
Began for me when I was living in Bahrain back in about 2003. I had been very active in the garden club out there, and through various circumstances decided to quit. And so I was very much at a loose end, and I had a neighbor that I used to go dog walking with, and she was a watercolorist, but she also taught silk painting to a number of expatriate ladies. And she said, "Oh, come to one of my lessons." I said, "No, I don't want to silk paint." No, you must come to one of my lessons. I'll teach you for free." So eventually I gave in, because I liked Betty a lot. And I went along, and for 6 weeks I was the true student from hell. I complained about everything, including why was I there and how silly this was. And then it all clicked, and I found I really enjoyed it. And at that stage I was doing just basic tracing of what you would call templates, such as this, and painting them in.
Okay, right.
But it just seemed such a lovely thing to do. And, you know, I came home with a picture that I could frame and put up in my bathroom or my husband's office. And it makes you feel good. And I met some very charming ladies that way. And so I painted with her for several years, and then we moved back to England.
You said something interesting earlier. You said that you don't necessarily have to be an artist to be able to do this.
No, you don't. For instance, here's one I started doing just to show you. This is where the silk is stretched on the frame. I have drawn an image on it, which is this image. I have then used something called Gouda, in this case black, which I have followed all the lines, and this creates a barrier so that when I start to paint this, the paint stays within these lines. Because otherwise you will find that silk will flow across the fibers.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And particularly if you dampen it, then it will really flow beautifully. Yeah. So you have to confine it somehow, and the normal way is, particularly at the beginning, is to use Gouda. It comes in very many different colors. Gold, black, and clear are the most usual ones. Once this is put on and dried, then you can begin to paint. And this is why I say, even a beginner, say in the second lesson, can get some red paint, some green paint, some blue paint, some black paint, and look at this and say, well, I want my apple to be red. Yeah. And they can do this and get quite a nice effect. Yes. Obviously, the more you do this, then the more you are taught. For instance, you could use salt on this. I could paint this a beautiful red, and I could put some table salt on it, and it would give an incredible effect on it.
What happens? How does that?
This is a painting that's gone absolutely and totally wrong. But this is the effect salt can have.
Oh gosh, that's beautiful.
And the effect it has depends on how big the granules of salt are, what colors you're using. The darker colors, the salt has a better effect on than lighter colors. You can even use water. I don't think it might work on this. This is a dark color. It will change this, and you will get. I really shouldn't have that, but that will have an effect on it as well.
Okay, so it's not just straightforward painting with
No.
salt. There are all sorts of mixtures and mediums you can use to create different effects.
Here, for instance,
Yeah.
I put a substance on the silk which allows me to paint like watercolor. It's
Yeah.
called anti-fusant. So that I just put the color on the tip of the brush and gently did it because I'm trying to get blades of grass
Yeah.
along the river bank.
Oh, so I just want to. Can you show us something? It would be lovely to see you
Actually
work a little
painting.
bit if possible.
I actually like doing children's pictures as well. So here we have a dolphin that I've already prepared. And this, as you see, has been outlined in a clear Gouda.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
And then I would put some salt on it. This is very, here, this is better. This is actually bigger and it should work quicker. See if it's still wet enough. And we leave that for 10 or 15 minutes and hope that the salt, that there's enough paint on there and it's the right color that it will create a texture on the silk.
Is the salt absorbing?
It's absorbing and making the paint, it's pulling
It's pulling a
actually
little
the
bit
color
out
from various
To make
aspects.
a texture. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
This is one of the simplest and easiest effects to get. We've painted it, we've put some salt on it, left the salt on for about 5 minutes, and then if you brush it off, you see you get this beautiful texture. And each time you put the salt on, the texture comes out actually differently. And it will also be different if I had put a very, very dark black on there or dark brown on there. You'd get a different effect.